Big Boss Mangoes reporting to you live out in Miami, Basel. This past weekend, traveling around a lot. Just came from LA, Fort LA, Miami again, all over the fucking world. I've never done something like this, but I want to take the time now because I feel that seeing my stuff on Instagram is one thing, but getting a full explanation is something that I never did. Get more personal with you guys so you guys can step into what's going on in my brain a little bit. We're gonna do that right now. So today, we got this piece made at Basel this past weekend. First event that I've ever done for Basel. Flew out for Art Basel. It's one of the biggest events in Miami. Artists from all over the world come out for a week-long events and curations. In a nutshell, what I would say is that it's like an artist mecca. You come here, you get discovered. You come here, you get inspired, you get influenced. A lot of things can end up happening, but this is the place to be when you want to do anything art-related. So right here, we have Adult Swim. This was a piece that I made for an Art Basel event that was curated by the art department at the Surf Cumber Hotel. Essentially, what this piece is, everything that is Miami. Nightlife, hotels, pools. Started by painting the background of everything that I saw at the event for the live painting. The reason it's called Adult Swim is because I'm tapping into more of like the kid-like nature of things, but also just the chaoticness of like a dinner party in a sense. With that being said, we have all of these figures. These figures came about as people that were just coming up to me during the party. One thing about them is that they're not defined by an actual person, but just the idea of the person or just the thought of people coming by. Just more so a comment on what goes on during dinner parties. A lot of times we have a lot of people that are always on their phones. So that's essentially what the phone stands for and what the arrow is pointing down toward. You can't really pay attention to the things that are around them because it's always this blocker that's in between everything. That's number one that goes on at a lot of parties these days. Next one would be you have these women that are there that might just attract your attention, but at the end of the day, you have another blocker, alcohol. Everybody's like doing things with alcohol, they're drinking. It's a lot of things that just like it's not what it seems all the time. That's essentially too why the background characters are there. They're smoking, they're in the background. It's just something that's like background noise. So that's why they're not as defined and they're translated in that sense. Right here, we have kind of like a scribe, somebody that always can interpret or has a story of what goes on at the party, but somebody that you might not even notice that was there. That's why he has a typewriter. He's working because at the end of the day, it's kind of like a media job to them. They're there to report, but they're not directly involved with it. Their intentions aren't always as it seems. Hence why, despite him taking account of the party, he's thinking of something, which is a metaphor. It's like screwing, but it's just like essentially fucking, like just things that are not what anybody else is thinking. The last character that we have here is dressed in all black, and they're saying appropriate combo. It's just a comment on when people come to parties. It's kind of more dark humor that people will bring up, but they have to find a way that it can be translated well to everybody else, but not to offend them, and just in a sense come up with appropriate combos. Throughout everything, as I said, these are just a bunch of things that block people or blockers within the party or things that happen within the party. For me, this was what the party of what I saw during my whole time at Art Basel at Miami. Hence bringing you Adult Swim.
What's going on with you?
So, been doing a lot of traveling, been all over the place. I feel like that one movie on Disney Channel with fucking Jackie Chan and that other fucking dude all around the world in 80 days. I don't fucking know how, but at the point that I am right now with my art career, and as crazy as it sounds, I never want to flex up on anybody or things of that nature, but I'm trying to figure out the next point. Where is to go next? Where's the next influence going to bring me? I'm really working on getting my passport right now to go internationally and get lost, to be honest, because the end of my year at an Art Basel event is just such a blessing because last year at this time, I always wanted to just be a part of it. Never thought that it was going to happen until like a month and a half ago, and it just popped off. So that's a blessing, and I know that with that happening, it really sets me up for next year and things to come.
What's the thing that inspired you the most in the time that you've been here in Miami? Do you remember anything that happened that you were like, holy shit, now the bar's hiring?
It's crazy because I'm kind of more of a secluded or like to myself with the art world. I don't really pay too much attention to what anybody has going on, and it's not for hate or just for arrogance. It's just more so that I don't want it to influence my ideas or my process. I did take inspiration though, rather how little it may be. Basically, I went to the convention center to see a lot of the paintings in Basel, and I seen a lot of originals by the greats of the world. It also just woke me up to realize that there aren't too many artists that are alive doing what I do. a lot of the greats or a lot of people that are represented that get the most money in the art world aren't here today to talk for themselves, aren't here today to be a personality, aren't here today to even exist in the world anymore. You just exist through your work. So that was the biggest thing that I took inspiration from. I know that I'll be amongst one of the greats, but I'm gonna be one of the greats that walk this earth that people constantly know. And I'm not gonna let that pass. Another thing that I took from it, make way larger scale painting.
What do you think is next right now?
Art-wise, what I think that is next, just focusing on really expanding on the point that I am now. I don't think that I have anything to prove to anybody because it's like I've done everything at this point. It's just a matter of until the world knows. And the world's gonna know. As of right now, it's just leveling up, improving on myself, just further altering my mindset for more positive growth than negative things. And I think that through allowing letting certain things go to allow new things in is going to help to expand my art. So with that being said, kind of touching on it again, I'm really trying to get my passport. I've been everywhere in the US, and the main thing that I noticed is that things in the US are just vibes. I have the West Coast vibe, but it's the same thing like Florida, but it's just like different coastal areas, so it's like a little difference. It's more of a party sense in Florida, whereas in LA it's more of a flex sense. New York is just gritty. It's basically like Chicago. When you go to so many places like this, it eventually rocks your mind to the point that nothing is new anymore. What's going to be coming new for me is to search for what's new in the world.
How could somebody with resources help you? How could a brand help you? How could an investor help you? How could a collector help you?
When asked this question, a lot of artists are going to say something of monetary value or something that they feel that they desperately need. If it comes down to something that I quote unquote desperately need, I need a studio space, but essentially what I would want, or like how can another like brand, endorsers, anything like that help me, just trusting in the process. You trust in the process, you put me in play, you know I'm gonna score, I'm gonna fucking succeed. But that's where it just ultimately goes to at first. It's just trusting in the process, getting people to see what I do, see the potential in it, and then just really getting behind it. Other than that, I don't need too much from anybody. Like, I don't need the space. I can do it within a small space. I could do a lot of things that have been proven already, but I just need to trust and faith in people to continue to push it forward.
Last question, who are some people that you want to work with this coming year?
Before I even say this, like, I don't even expect them to do anything with it. I want to do something for Chief Keef. I feel that with what I can do in the culture and what he has done in the culture, like, it's just me paying homage in a sense to like give back. That's really all that I want to do for it. Not too many rappers, because a lot of them I encounter sometimes. I'll fuck with Trippie Redd. I like how Trippie Redd does his cover arts and just his creative direction in general. I think that'd be a cool person to work with. Now within the art world, as far as artists I want to work with, George Condo. I want to work with a lot of Chicago artists back home, like Amuse 126, graffiti artist from back home. I really fuck with his work. My ultimate goal is to work with this artist from Australia named Sofleys, S-O-F-L-E-S, Sofleys, however you pronounce it. Desperately want to work with that guy. He's to me like one of the best in the world right now at just art in general. And then lastly, just like another shout out for Chicago, is artist, his name is Swoon, Z-W-O-N. He's doing like really innovative stuff, not even in the graffiti world, just in the art sense with like the rappelling stuff and things like that. But he's a super good creative. We've done a bunch of shows together in Chicago, just have yet to personally meet. Other than that, I mean, I'm willing to work with anybody. It's just if it makes sense, to be honest.
Any parting words?
Man, you already know, man. Big Boss Mangoes reported to you live, man. I already know. Mangoes to the world, bro. They always asking what it is, but it's whatever you want it to be. You feel me? Mangoes, bro. It's a brand. It's a lifestyle. It make dreams and make whatever you want come to life. So I just hope that everybody see that. As I always say, man, it ain't the end. It's just the beginning. Every new step along the way is just the beginning until it all makes sense.